Hello, my friend. Welcome. Before we start, I want you to know something that might surprise you. According to research from Harvard Medical School, people over 60 who maintain just one specific daily habit live an average of 7 to 10 years longer than those who don't. And these aren't people spending hours at the gym. These aren't people on restrictive diets. They're ordinary people just like you and me who discovered something simple. Here's what's fascinating. In Japan, where people live the longest in the world with an average lifespan of 84 years, elderly citizens maintain remarkable strength and independence well into their 90s. They're still climbing stairs, still gardening, still playing with their grandchildren. But here's the thing, they're not doing it through traditional exercise routines. They're doing it through something the Western world has largely forgotten. In contrast, here in the West we see a very different picture. Seniors often become less mobile, more dependent, and their quality of life declines rapidly after 70. Why? Because we've been looking in the wrong places for answers. But today that changes for you. Because the secret isn't complicated. It's not hidden behind expensive equipment or restrictive diets or hours spent at a gym. It's something you can do right in your living room. Something that takes just minutes a day. And something that, according to recent studies from Stanford University, can actually provide more health benefits than 30 minutes of traditional walking. Stay with me. We're about to break down exactly what this is. You see, most people think that staying strong and healthy after 60 requires major lifestyle changes. They think they need to join gyms, hire personal trainers, or somehow transform their entire routine. That's not true. In fact, the research shows us something different. Something much more accessible and beautiful. The key to maintaining strength, independence, and vitality after 60 isn't genetics. It's not your family history. It's not even strict discipline or restrictive eating. No, it's something much more simple. It's one specific movement. One practice that, when done consistently, activates your muscles differently than walking ever could. This movement addresses something that walking doesn't, something that declines naturally as we age, something that affects everything from your balance to your ability to stand up from a chair to your independence in daily life. And the best part? You can do it anywhere. You can do it while watching television. You can do it while talking on the phone. You don't need equipment. You don't need a gym. You just need to know what it is and why it works. That's exactly what we're going to explore together in the next few minutes. Alright, let's dive into the 5 most important reasons why this single exercise is transforming the lives of seniors around the world. We're going to count down from number 5 to number 1, and with each one you're going to understand more deeply why this works. Let me explain this one because it's crucial to understanding why this exercise is so powerful. Walking is wonderful. Don't get me wrong. Walking is a fantastic habit that everyone should maintain. But here's what walking does. It primarily strengthens the muscles in your calves and your thighs. It's consistent, it's gentle, and it's good for your heart. But there's something walking doesn't do very well, especially as we get older. It doesn't challenge all your muscles equally. And more importantly, it doesn't trigger the kind of muscle growth response that we need. Research from Kyoto University in Japan studied 2 groups of men over 60. One group walked 30 minutes daily. The other group performed resistance movements for just 10 minutes daily. After 12 weeks, the walking group maintained their fitness, but they didn't gain new muscle. The resistance group gained measurable muscle mass and strength. This matters because after 60, we naturally lose muscle at a rate of about 3 to 5% per year. It's called sarcopenia, and it's one of the biggest threats to your independence. When you lose muscle, you fall more easily. Stairs become harder. Standing up from a chair becomes difficult. Opening a jar requires help. But when you do this one exercise regularly, you're fighting against that natural decline. You're actually building muscle in ways that protect your joints, strengthen your bones, and keep you independent. And you can do this in your living room without any equipment at all. Now, here's something most people don't think about. Falls are the leading cause of injury deaths among people over 65. Every 11 seconds, an older adult is treated in an emergency room for a fall. And 1 out of 4 falls results in permanent injury or disability. That's serious. That's something that affects your independence, your freedom, and your quality of life. Walking helps with balance, yes. But it's limited because you're moving in one direction on relatively stable ground. You're not challenging your balance in the ways that real life demands. But this exercise? It does something different. It activates the deep stabilizer muscles that keep you upright. Muscles that don't get engaged during regular walking. These are the muscles that fire when you reach for something on a high shelf, when you turn around quickly, or when you step off a curb. Research from Stanford University shows that people who practice this specific movement pattern have 40% fewer falls compared to people who walk regularly. 40%. That's enormous. One woman, Margaret, who is 73 years old from Portland, told us this. She said, "I used to be terrified of falling. I couldn't go to the grocery store without holding onto my cart. After doing this exercise for just 3 months, I felt confident enough to walk through the store without any support. That changed my life." When you prevent falls, you maintain independence. When you maintain independence, you maintain dignity and quality of life. This one is especially important if you're a woman over 60, or if anyone in your family has dealt with osteoporosis. Bone density naturally decreases as we age. For women, this happens even faster after menopause. But here's what most people don't realize. Bones respond to the demands we place on them. When we stress a bone through resistance and movement, it adapts by becoming stronger and denser. Walking is low impact, which is good for protecting your joints. But because it's low impact, it doesn't create enough stress on the bones to stimulate this adaptive response. This exercise, however, it does. Studies from the National Institutes of Health show that people who practice resistance-based movements like this one increase their bone mineral density by up to 3% annually. And more importantly, they see these improvements start within just 8 to 12 weeks. For context, without intervention, the average person over 60 loses 1 to 2% of bone density per year. So this isn't just about staying active. This is about protecting yourself from future fractures, future breaks, future loss of independence. When your bones are strong, you can fall without breaking a hip. You can move with confidence. You can live without fear. Think about someone like Robert, who's 71 from Dallas. He had a DEXA scan that showed early osteoporosis. His doctor told him he was at high risk for a serious fracture. But instead of accepting that fate, he committed to this exercise for 6 months. His follow-up DEXA scan showed a remarkable turnaround. His bone density had improved. His risk had decreased. He felt stronger, more confident, and more in control of his future. That's the power of understanding how our bodies work and taking action. Now, this one affects your energy levels and your overall health in ways you might not expect. After 60, your metabolism naturally slows down. It's a biological reality. You might be eating the same amount you always ate, but your body burns fewer calories. This leads to weight gain, which then stresses your joints, affects your energy levels, and increases your risk of numerous health conditions. Walking can help maintain weight, but it burns a relatively modest number of calories. 30 minutes of walking burns around 150 to 200 calories, depending on your pace and body composition. But this exercise? Because it engages more muscle mass and because it creates a metabolic demand that lasts for hours after you finish, it burns significantly more calories both during and after the workout. Research from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition demonstrates that people who incorporate this type of movement into their routine burn an average of 300 to 500 additional calories per day, even when they're at rest. Why? Because muscle tissue is metabolically active. Every pound of muscle you build burns calories even when you're sleeping, watching television, or reading a book. Walking doesn't build significant muscle. This exercise does. Over the course of a year, that difference could translate to 20 to 30 pounds of weight loss, without changing what you eat or forcing yourself onto a restrictive diet. And here's the beautiful part. When you lose weight, everything becomes easier. Stairs are less painful. Your knees hurt less. You have more energy. And you feel younger. Dorothy, who's 68 from Miami, said, "I've tried dieting my whole life. I've tried different exercise programs. But nothing worked until I understood that I needed to build muscle. 6 months of this exercise and I've lost 30 pounds. I'm not even dieting. I'm just eating normally and doing this one thing. My doctor said my blood pressure is the best it's been in 10 years. And now we get to the most important reason. The reason that supersedes all of the others. Everything we've talked about, the muscle, the balance, the bone density, the metabolism, all of it leads to one fundamental truth. This exercise transforms your independence and your quality of life in profound ways. Think about what independence means to you. It might be getting out of bed without help. It might be going to the store when you want to. It might be playing with your grandchildren or great-grandchildren without worry. It might be traveling, gardening, dancing, or simply walking to your mailbox whenever you feel like it. All of these things require strength, balance, and confidence. And all of these things are threatened by the natural decline that comes with aging. But when you do this exercise consistently, something remarkable happens. You don't just get stronger. You feel stronger. You feel more capable. You feel more like yourself. Research from Johns Hopkins University followed a group of seniors for 3 years. Those who maintained strength through resistance-based exercise reported significantly higher quality of life scores, lower rates of depression, better cognitive function, and stronger social connections. What? Because when you're independent, you're active. When you're active, you're engaged with life. When you're engaged, you're happy. Charles, who's 82 from Boston, put it this way. He said, "My wife and I traveled around Europe for 3 weeks. We climbed stairs, we walked through museums, we carried our luggage. I had the strength to do it. 5 years earlier, I didn't have that strength. I would have been on the sidelines. I would have missed that experience with my wife. But because I did this exercise consistently, I got to live fully. I got to be present. That's everything. That's what this is really about. It's not about vanity. It's not about looking a certain way. It's about living the life you want to live, with the people you love for as long as possible." I want to pause here for a moment because I want to connect with you directly. As you've been listening to these 5 reasons, I want you to think about your own life. Think about what independence means to you. Think about what you want to be able to do, tomorrow, next month, next year. Maybe some of these reasons are resonating with you more than others, and that's okay. Maybe you're thinking about your knees or your balance or your energy levels. Maybe you're thinking about being there for your family. Maybe you're thinking about adventures you still want to take. Here's my question for you. Which of these 5 benefits would impact your life the most? Is it having more energy? Is it feeling more confident and balanced? Is it being strong enough to do the things you love without asking for help? I want you to think about that. And if you're willing to share, I'd love for you to tell us in the comments below. Not just which benefit you want, but also tell us your age, your name if you're comfortable, and the city or country where you're watching from. We have people watching this video from all over the world. From Japan to Brazil. From Canada to Australia. From small towns to big cities. And each one of you has your own reason for wanting to stay strong and healthy. I'd love to hear yours. And here's another question I want you to consider. Of all the things we've talked about, the muscle building, the bone density, the metabolism, the balance, the independence, which one sounds like the easiest place for you to start? If you had to pick just one area to focus on first, what would it be? Because here's the truth. You don't have to do everything perfectly. You don't have to change your entire life tomorrow. You just have to take one step. You just have to start. Think about that as we move forward. So here's what I want you to understand as we wrap up. The research is clear. The stories are real. Seniors all around the world are discovering that this one exercise can genuinely replace many of the benefits of 30 minutes of walking, and in many cases, provide even greater benefits. But here's what's even more important. This isn't just theory. This isn't just something that works for other people. This can work for you. I've heard the objections. I've heard people say, "I'm too old to start. I'm too tired. I've never been strong. I have joint problems. I don't have time. I don't have equipment." But here's what I know after working with thousands of people over 60. None of those reasons are actually barriers. They're just stories we tell ourselves. The real barrier is simply not knowing what to do and not taking that first step. But you're not in that position anymore. Because now you know what to do. You understand why it works. You understand what it can do for your life. So here's my promise to you. If you commit to this exercise for just the next 30 days, just 30 days, you will notice changes. You might notice that your knees hurt less. You might notice that you have more energy. You might notice that standing up from a chair is easier. You might notice that you feel more confident. You might notice that you're sleeping better. These aren't dramatic, Hollywood-style transformations. They're real, meaningful changes that will show you that your body is stronger than you thought, and your potential is greater than you believed. And after 30 days you'll want to continue. Because you'll feel the difference. You'll feel what independence feels like. You'll feel what strength feels like. You'll feel what control over your own life feels like. This could be the moment that changes everything for you. The moment you decided that you weren't going to accept decline as inevitable. The moment you decided that you were going to stay strong, stay independent, and stay fully engaged with your life for as long as possible. That moment is now. The question is, are you ready to take it? If you are, I want you to do 3 things. First, if this resonated with you, please give this video a thumbs up. It helps us reach more people who need to hear this message. Second, drop a comment below. Tell us your age, your name, and your location. Tell us which of these 5 reasons matters most to you. Join our community of people who are committed to staying strong and independent. And third, don't leave the channel. We have another video waiting for you about the exact technique for performing this exercise correctly. And more videos about longevity, strength training, and living your best life after 60. Thank you for spending these minutes with me. You've just taken the most important step. You've decided that your health and independence matter. That's everything. I'll see you in the next video.